Well, hey, welcome to Play and Trade Guitars. I'm John.
And I'm Zach.
This is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it.
And then we trade. And this is Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it.
And trade it. And Zach had a fantastic idea to start bringing you the newest and freshest albums that resonate with us as guitar players and you as music listeners and guitar players yourself. It's perfect timing that we talk about this, and all of a sudden Foo Fighters drop an amazing, already classic guitar album on us with Medicine at Midnight. I gave this the initial listen through, and I just was so impressed by the guitar tones, the funky riffage, the timing, the soulful sounds across this album. I think it's a classic guitar album in the making.
I'm sure a lot of you viewers are already hip to this record for sure. Grohl and company pulled out all the stops. They dropped 9 new tracks on us.
This was like their 25th anniversary, right? And they had a big world tour planned, and they had this album done, I think, right? And where did they record it?
So this album was tracked in a house in California. They went back in, recorded at the place, and actually found out some pretty interesting stuff along the way. But yeah, this album was done. Recording was underway in 2019. Album was wrapped and finished in February of 2020. And then things got put on hold.
We saw 2020 a resurgence in interest in guitar in general and really high record sales for guitar manufacturers and guitar sellers online. And I think now that all of you have gone out and bought more guitars or bought your first guitar, you're hungry, like we always are, for inspiring music and a reason to pick up the guitar and play. And Medicine at Midnight absolutely delivers.
It's a classic rock record.
One of the most important things I've ever learned about rhythm guitar playing, apart from playing with you, is listening to Dave Grohl say that when he plays guitar, he thinks like a drummer. This album equally makes you want to pick up guitar and play, and it also makes you want to pick up sticks and play drums whether you play or not. I feel like I'm banging drums a little bit when I play these riffs because they're so rhythmic. They got this raw kind of guitar sound. I guess Dave Grohl is big on just kind of going, he's kind of a purist, I guess. I didn't really know that he's just kind of big on going into awesome tube amps and turning them up loud.
Yeah, I think most of the time he just has one distortion pedal on stage.
Wow, okay.
That's it.
Yeah, so keeping it simple.
If that. Super simple, super straight up.
If I could sum up just a few of the kind of themes I hear as a guitar player, a lot of funky rhythms with space, like I said, a lot of chromaticism, a lot of, sliding power chords around chromatically. The mix is great. A lot of that panning interplay brings out the 3 guitars in the band. And then you also have some really nice use, I thought, of the orchestral. You have strings on this album in really appropriate places, like completely not overdone anywhere and really lending itself to kind of that soulful funk rock vibe across this, which is a little bit different from some of their other albums, but in a great way.
That's true, yeah. They said that this one was definitely a lot more poppier than they're used to, a little bit more dancier. They considered it to be advanced technology for the Foo Fighters to use a drum loop. So
no way.
Your first drum loop on a Foo Fighters record. I've been trying to listen to find out which one it exactly is, but
interesting.
Yeah, there's some looping going on.
Well, the drums are so tight, especially in the first track. Let's talk about the songs on this album. Opening track is really strong. Making a Fire comes out with this awesome drum beat. It's actually in 3, and then that guitar comes in. And that riff is one of my favorites.
Mr. Taylor Hawkins kicking off the album with a solid beat. I love the way the Foo Fighters, whenever they enter in, it's always just some kind of dramatic, huge swell that comes from the guitar. It's a signature touch.
Great chromatic movement. It's almost got like a funky Chili Peppers vibe.
And in all those chromatic stuff, you can almost hear the fact that Dave Grohl's a drummer. Anytime I hear chromatic power chord guitar riff, it always makes me think of someone doing a drum fill.
Yeah, day one I listened to this album and I had to just put on Making a Fire and learn that riff, and I had a really good time doing that. It's in 3, and then it opens up into an expansive chorus in 4, and the thing has just got a lot of funky, soulful vibe. We only had the first radio single of the album. The first one I heard on the radio before the album actually dropped is Shame, Shame. And this is a perfect, again, example of leaving a lot of space and how funky and deep that can hit you in that grooving pocket.
Yeah, I remember when this song first came out, kind of hearing the new poppy, dancey direction that they went with this.
Yeah.
it was certainly a good, accurate representation of what was to come from this record, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think this one really nails kind of the vibe of that use of space in the riffs, which is a theme across this album. They've even got some like lo-fi like room claps, like those claps that are in the background sound like they were just like way off from a room mic and kind of threw them in there.
That's pretty cool. Dave Grohl always says he writes his songs imagining the audience singing back to him. And
that's cool.
Stadium full of people just shouting his lyrics back to him, so it'll be funny to hear a stadium full of people shouting shame at him when he's on stage. So we'll see how he likes that.
Well, I'll be there. I'm sure he'll be glad just to have people back in stadiums. So. And so I arranged this riff in a way where you can play kind of the bottom and the top part and play the underlying kind of harmony between the guitars and strings. Probably my favorite is Cloudspotter. I love it. It's got the Jimi Hendrix chord. Every guitar player loves the Jimi Hendrix chord, which is the 7#9. This is so like classic, just like funky Jimi Hendrix type of riffage. Black Keys vibe where they kind of start to get a little retro with like the background singers. It's got a really cool pre-chorus chromatic B buzz that and what they do is that's played in the upper register, and there's actually a heavy bridge that hits in the song where it takes that in the upper register and drops it to the low chunking.
That one was pretty cool.
Bringing out the acoustic guitar for this one. Beautifully done. It sounds like a deep guitar sound. I don't know exactly what acoustic he favors.
Pretty sure he always plays Gibson.
Okay, so it sounds like a deep, like a Gibson, like Southern Jumbo, like just a big fat, like the epitome of what I think of when I think of like a Gibson, like Southern Jumbo or Gibson acoustic. I think it nails that tone. And then this big epic outro, which just keeps accelerating.
Yeah, I love when the drums come in.
Yeah.
Super heavy way to go out of that track.
Yeah.
You know what's really interesting is that Dave Grohl used to play the drums even on the earliest records. Like so Color and Shape, he played all the songs. And even when Taylor Hawkins did join the band as the permanent drummer, on a couple of those singles, you don't know it, but Dave Grohl actually was drumming on them.
Medicine at Midnight is really cool kind of because it comes in with that, I think it is the drum loop. I think you're exactly right at the top. It brings in this bath of those like minor chimey chords that just ring out open. Kind of, it reminds me very much of like a Mike Campbell, like Heartbreakers kind of vibe. And then this song was a total surprise because they have like a straight up Stevie Ray Vaughan guitar solo at 220.
Well, Chris Shiflett, he's
right in the middle of it.
He is top notch. Like,
yeah, sounds awesome.
I mean, that guy can play anything from punk rock to Stevie Ray Vaughan.
No doubt, yeah, no doubt. And it was really fun to hear it come out here. No Son of Mine.
Moving on. Now, is this not the ultimate dad rock track? It has to be, right?
It's kind of a get up and go kind of thrash punk vibe. They always glue it back together with some funky stuff. It really reminds me of like early Black Sabbath, and that might sound funny, but coming out of the chorus, when you hear that guitar work, it really sounds like Black Sabbath to me. Yeah, so Holding Poison has that kind of dance beat, total like stadium 70s hard rock at like the 3-minute mark with some like real galloping rock riff. Again, managing to keep it dancey and poppy and still be totally awesome. And then another really cool acoustic track is Chasing Birds. It's built around the major 7th kind of vibey sound. Really cool. One of my favorites on the album.
Same. Yeah. I thought that this was one of my favorites as well.
Yeah. If you have not gotten to the back end of this album because you're have ADD or something, or you can't make it through a full album, do yourself a favor and go listen to the back, because from front to back this is a great album. But Chasing Birds is really a high spot.
Yeah, only 9 songs on the album too.
Yeah,
only
I think it's like 35.
minutes.
Yeah.
Bands used to actually catch flack for that back in the 90s.
Right, for the short ones. How long was a CD? Like the max length of a CD?
I think it's like 74 minutes.
So that's where you were like accused of putting, or you needed to come up with like filler.
Most bands made records that were over an hour.
Wow.
I remember when Weezer put out the Green album, and like nobody wanted to buy it because they felt like shortchanged because it was like
Because it wasn't long
it
enough?
was 10 songs and it was like 30 minutes long. But it was probably like $20. Last song, Love Dies Young, just a classic anthem to go out with.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually leaves you wanting more. It's kind of funny. Every time I listen to this record on Spotify, when this song ends, you'd think that there's going to be more. You don't feel like the record's over yet. And then like a classic Foo Fighters hit comes in on like the suggested, and it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes by way too quick. But then at least they play the trick on you of wanting to start it again and play it again. So there you go. It's definitely kind of like an epic like anthem album closer. And the riff is definitely got the best of kind of that Coldplay guitar sound. Just kind of a really nice melodic guitar line. And it closes out the album. And all in all, you just want to keep going back and listening, and it doesn't get old. In terms of starting this new series where we're trying to look for new albums to push to promote guitar music, this fell in our laps. This made it really easy.
This was a great one to start out with.
What was the deal at the house? You said there was a story behind where they recorded it?
So it was a house that Dave Grohl had rented prior, and he said that when he was staying in it, his kids like kept mentioning like all this weird stuff like that they were seeing, all that, and he said he just wrote it off as like just kids being kids. And then he said when they were there recording, all this weird stuff kept happening. Like they'd leave everything set up, they'd come back, all the amp tones, all the amp settings would be dialed in differently, guitars would be out of tune.
Oh, no way.
They said it even got as weird as like the board, they'd come in and it would just be, the mix would be wiped clean, everything would be dialed down, set back to 0.
Yikes.
And then they said there were tracks being added. They'd come into the Pro Tools sessions and there would just be room mic tracks added with like weird like popping.
What do they call those? EMPs, electromagnetic phenomenon. You ever watch that show? What was it with that guy Zach who's always yelling at the ghost, like really aggressively?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Someone don't know what I'm talking about, but they needed him in there to clear the house out or something.
That's funny. But yeah, no, some weird vibes on the record for sure. So maybe the Foo Fighters 25th anniversary record is cursed.
Well, whatever it is, it worked for me, and hope you guys have had a chance to listen to it. If not, go check it out. That is Medicine at Midnight by the Foo Fighters. A lot of incredible rhythmic guitar work on there. Super funky, super rockin'. Go check that out. For Play and Trade Guitars, I'm John.
And I'm Zach.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're just about to give away our Wayne's World Strat. So thanks for being part of Play and Trade Guitars, where we play it and trade it. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think of the album.
And definitely hit subscribe, because when we hit 5,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving away the guitar that we featured tonight in our playing demo.
Boom. There it is.
Hit subscribe. Like and subscribe, baby.